Spreading all around my room, my world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video here on the World of Juice channel, and welcome back to another episode of the New England Patriots 10-year dynasty here on Madden 26. Today is season number 5, episode number 5, and we are here. Last episode, we made the playoffs. This team is ready to explode. Ready to explode over every single person, man, woman, not child, because that's a little inappropriate, but we're about to ready to explode on every man and woman in the vicinity as we make the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. I can feel it. I can sniff it. I want to absorb it into my bloodstream. That's how excited I am for this season. So if you're going to enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Let's go see if my excitement is well placed. This is year number 5 of the Patriots 10-year dynasty. Let's start off the video as we always do, generating the new draft class for the season. Let's get into what the lineup looks like, because I do think this could be a good year for us. I mean, look at this team, man. We've got Drake May, who's a superstar 90 overall quarterback. We've got Travion Henderson, who's an 87 overall running back. 3 wide receivers that are unbelievable, and then one that's just fine in Jalen Polk. A god-tier offensive line. 2 good tight ends. And then on the defense, I mean, it's just riches upon riches upon riches upon riches. I mean, we've got unbelievable corners. We've got great linebackers. We've got great safeties, including a USC strong safety. I finally got my boy, Rob Boyles, here. So let's do the dang thing with him. This team is ready to dominate. And it's all a matter of simulation. Will we actually be able to achieve the goals I know we can achieve? Will the simulation not let me down? I hope it won't. It shouldn't. We're still rocking Bengal offense, Patriot defense. This team should go undefeated. Will they not? They probably won't. We'll probably lose this first game to the Chargers. But this team should be good enough to be the number 1 seed and be, yeah, we do lose the first game of the season. Of course we do. This team should be good enough to be the number 1 seed and be a big-time Super Bowl threat for this season. We got a QB breakout, though, for Drake May, which is very intriguing. 350 yards and 3 total touchdowns. I don't know if that's going to be a doable for Drake in the simulation. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think the 70% completion percentage might be a little bit better, because we know that the Bengal playbook simulates fairly good completion percentages. So no interceptions and 70% completion. I think that might be his best chance to get us X factor for Drake May. Against the Dolphins, who are 1-1, so are we. Come on, Drake. Give me that 70% completion and no interceptions. We win the game, but does that mean he got the breakout? Does he get the X factor? Here we go. Drake May has X factor. Oh, I knew it. And he gets 10,000 XP. Oh, he did it. He delivered. Drake May is an X-Factor quarterback. We've achieved the dream. 2 XP points to spend, 2 upgrades. Drake May is now an X-Factor quarterback here in Season 5. That is a beautiful thing. We lose to the Jets, though. That is not a beautiful thing. Let's get some wins going, boys. We lose to the Ravens. That's not ideal. What's this 2-0 thing? Is it going to be involving Drake May? Because he already got the thing done. Yeah, it's going to be about Drake May. I mean, I don't really think we need to do anything else, because we have the F and X factor. It's not like they can take it away from me at this point. We have X factor. We do beat the Jets, which is nice. We're 3-3. We're kind of just middle of the road right now, and that's not where I think this team can be. This team's good enough to be better than middle of the road. So I'm a little bit concerned at why we're not simulating that well. Taking on the Jets now. Or taking on the Jets. Taking on the Falcons now. We just did take on the Jets. Can we get some big wins? There's a big win against Atlanta. What about this game? I didn't see who it was against. I wasn't paying attention. This game is a loss to Tennessee. It's just 1 win, 1 loss. 1 win, 1 loss. If anything, we're consistent. There's a win against Miami. That's big. We're 5-4. It's not looking that good for the number 1 seed. Christian Gonzalez is a true 99 overall. We knew that already. Right now, as we stand, we are the 8th seed outside of the postseason. That's not good. We need to win some games, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some wins going. What are we talking about here? There's a win against Denver, but it's against a good Tampa team now. They're 7-3. This is a good Tampa team. Got to win. We don't win. But now it's against a good Buffalo squad. They're ahead of us in the division. This could be a massive game for who is going to win the division at the end of the season. Buffalo gets it out. Why are we not playing well? Do I have to switch the defense? Is the defense not simulating good enough? Maybe the defense is the problem? You'd think that the Patriot defense would be good because it's Vrabel's defense. But maybe the defense is not giving us our best chance to win. What's a good defense to go to, though? Who's a defense that simulates? Well, maybe the Lions defense. Let's try a couple of games in the Lion defense. Maybe that'll give us some much-needed wins. I don't know why the Patriot defense isn't simulating that well. We lose to the Raiders. Come on, boys. I just hyped it up how I thought this team could be so good. And now, oh my God, we lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, we're not going to make the playoffs this year. What is happening? We do beat the Carolina Panthers 7-8. What is going on with the sim? Drake May gets another upgrade point. He's up to a 93 overall. And he's got the X Factor, obviously. We're 7-8 right now, 12th in the conference. Absolute disgusting simulation. How? Why? We have such a good team. What is going on? I'm not quite sure why the sim is not liking us so much. Is it the Bengal playbook that bad? I thought the Bengal playbook was god tier. It is for simulation, for stats at least. Maybe not for winning games. We do finish the season with a couple of wins, but we do miss the postseason. Man, just a disappointing season. Missing out on the playoffs is brutal when I said I was going to make the playoffs. Oh, why? I think the Bengal playbook might not be good enough to win a bunch of games. It might be good for sim stats, like individual stats, but for winning games might not be the move. We might have to find a new playbook. The Lions and Texans are your Super Bowl matchup. So, I mean, we had the right idea with the Lion defense, and maybe that helped us out towards the end of the season with those wins that we racked up. But I don't know, man. We go to another offseason. Very disappointing. A very disappointing season for us. Just did not simulate well at all. And maybe that Bengal playbook is the problem. But what other playbooks are good in the game? Buffalo is always pretty consistent. Maybe Buffalo is one that we move to. Tampa seems to simulate pretty well, usually, for some reason. Kansas City, I think, got nerfed pretty heavily. Indianapolis, I've seen do pretty well. Miami doesn't simulate very well. Philadelphia always simulates well, but we don't have a Jalen Hurts style quarterback. I kind of like the idea of Buffalo. Green Bay could be a decent one. Green Bay simulates okay. The Raiders do fine sometimes. Ravens, but we don't have a Lamar Jackson type. I think Buffalo might be the best option. San Fran could be good, I guess. I'll switch it to Buffalo for now. But we are running out of time. We got to figure out what's going to work for us. So the season recap, Lions get the Super Bowl. Byron Young is the Super Bowl MVP. Bryce Young is the MVP of the league. We don't win any awards. Rome Odunze and Oladejo are the players of the year. I guess let's take a look at that lineup and see any more depth chart upgrades. We know that Drake May is an X factor, but nobody else changes on the offense that I can notice. We get some good development from our wide receivers, though. Kyle Williams is playing good. So is Pop Douglas. Travion goes up a little bit. The offensive line's looking real good. Tight ends are looking good. What about on defense? Nobody goes in a dev trait that I see. I don't think anybody's changed here. I think everybody was either superstar or star. All right, so no dev trait increases. That's okay, I guess. Not the end of the world. Saquon, I just noticed, is retiring from he was on the Texans. We go to negotiations. We have 38 million. Accept the option on Khalil Dalton. Pretty easy. Rob Boyle needs a contract extension. So does Will Campbell. We'll accept the option on J.J. Farley. Xavier Legette, Jose Almas. Oh, no. It's all coming down now, isn't it? All of my young players need new contracts. Well, we're going to have to dish out some cash. Rob Boyle's up first. He does not want to be here. Why not? Because he doesn't like the income tax in Massachusetts. Well, I'm sorry, dog. I can't control that. But I do want you to return to the club. So we're going to have to pay you fat cash. He's not coming back. All right. We're going to have to franchise tag Rob Boyle if worst comes to worst. But we have to pay Will Campbell. He's our franchise tackle. So we'll get him back. He wants to be here, thankfully. And he's going to return. It's a lot of money for a franchise tackle, but he's back. Xavier Legette will probably trade. Almas we need back. Harris we need back. Almas is the last guy that we absolutely have to have back, but we have to restructure some contracts. All right, let's trade Xavier Legette before we restructure contracts. We brought him in a couple years ago in the trade market. But now, unfortunately, we have to trade him away. Jamison Morrison's probably not a bad idea because if you remember, there is a D tackle that we have. Jordan Fuller's the X Factor now that we have to re-sign. So if we trade for a D tackle with Xavier Legette, then maybe, just maybe, we can trade that guy. Devon Collins. What kind of money is he working with? Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. What kind of money is Collins working with? He's got 2 years left on his deal, 25 years old. I think this could be the trade. So we send Xavier Legette back to we send him to the Steelers, and we can trade Chris Colvin now, which I don't really want to do, but we have his replacement at least. So let's trade Colvin, and maybe we can trade Colvin for a wide receiver since we just traded away Legette. So who's a not so great wide receiver that we can maybe grab and turn into something? They don't have to be that amazing. They're in the offense. They're gonna do okay. Eagles only have 3 wide receivers on roster. There's an X Factor wide receiver, Dennis Schilling. That's kind of crazy. This guy, Cody Brewer, has no dev trait. I wonder if he's hard to get. He's not that hard to get. We could get this guy for relatively cheap. I could give you one of my many running backs that I have. All right, that gets into the yellow. We have another wide receiver I could give up, maybe. I could give them Troy Franklin, I guess. That gets into the green, and now we'll probably have to give up some draft capital. But I'll go all the way down to 2032 and give them a 4th-round pick and see where that goes. That gets into the green, so probably a 3rd-round pick in 2032 would get the job done. And it does. So we bring in Cody Brewer. And now we can probably... We're going to have to re-sign Brewer next year. But that shouldn't be that expensive, especially if we're getting all these guys out of the way right now. Now we have to go and restructure some contracts. So let's go and figure out who's getting restructured. So the most expensive player is Drake May. That makes a bunch of sense. Restructuring him alone probably gives us enough money. But we'll restructure Christian Gonzalez as well. So let's see where that leaves us. That gives us $22 million. Is that enough to offer Almas? It is. All right, so let's get Jose Almas locked up for the rest of the rebuild. He's going to return to the club. That's pretty big. Jake Harris is next up, and so is Javon Patterson. So let's get Jake Harris locked up for a good amount of time. Hopefully he accepts this. And he does. That leaves us with 3.2 million, which is not going to be enough to get Javon Patterson back. Barely not enough. So we'll have to restructure at least 2 more contracts, I think, to be able to open this up. So we're not going to do Campbell. We're not going to do Almas, obviously. We can do Travion, though. And we can do Kyle Williams. That should be enough between those two. That should be enough to get both Patterson and Patterson back and be able to franchise tag Boyle. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do anything in free agency this year. But as long as we bring back the guys that we have on the team already, I think that's going to be good enough. So we signed Patterson back. Brewer's going to be next year. Marcus Jones is 31. All of these guys, even though I like Evan Neal and I wish he could have stayed on the team, he developed fairly well for turning into a guard. We have to franchise tag Boyle, so 21 million is actually not that much for a franchise tag, but we re-sign him and we'll let everybody else go, and we will go to the draft because the draft is the next most important thing since we can't sign anybody in free agency. I'll take a peek in free agency just to see what's there. Joe Burrow, okay. Joe Burrow is going to move on to a new team. He's a 99 overall. Only 4 teams are offering him. Very interesting. I wonder where Joe will sign. Who's he going to be the franchise quarterback of? Who is he going to be the franchise quarterback of? I got no idea. Let's take a look. Signed free agents. Who's he signed with? Nobody. Is Joe going to go unsigned? No way. He's going to sign with somebody, right? Free agency recap. Joe Burrow, 33-year-old, 99 overall quarterback, has remained unsigned. He must have been asking for so much money. He's asking for $79.7 million per season. Wow. You know what? If I even had $1 to offer him, I would have offered him. If not just to trade him for a possible first-round pick, I guess. That's kind of crazy that nobody signed Joe Burrow. I know he's 33, but he's a 99 overall. He probably can still do some damage. Insane. Insane in the membrane. This guy, Jared Atkins, I'm going to select because I think he could be pretty solid. He's got a lot of good speed and stuff. What about the potential of another wide receiver? Do I want to go after another wide receiver? Probably not. We need to go after maybe some D tackles. There's a lot of elite speed D tackles, that's for sure. There's also an elite acceleration guy, but no, what about elite strength? There's a couple of elite strength, but nobody that matches with the speed except for Joe Pearman. I guess we'll scout him and see if he's any good. And then we're probably going to need some linebackers, I guess. Although there's not that many linebackers that are that good. At least the attributes are not that good. What about corner? Are there any amazing corners? There's 2 elite speed corners and 1 elite acceleration. DJ Buckner, round 1 to 2. I guess those will be my 3 guys that we use as the focus. All right, we'll move on. Take a look at the mock draft and how good those guys actually are. So what pick are we actually picking at? Or what spot we're picking at? Number 16, they have us taking Leon Smith. Okay, very interesting. Sean Edwards is around 2 to 3 guy. He's going to go number 1 overall. That sucks for the Jaguars who are going to take him. Did this guy's name? Bo Way, is that his name? He's from Ohio State, so go Bucks. But Bo Way is your name? There's Bo Way. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, who did we scout? We scouted a wide receiver. He's a round 1 talent. Good to know. We scouted a corner and a D tackle. So who's the D tackle? How good is he? He's a round 1 talent as an undrafted player. Good to know. And then the corner is also a round 1 talent. So we hit on all of our scouts. We just have to be in position to draft all of them. Were any of them mocked? I wouldn't think the D tackle, obviously. He's potentially drafted. But what about the other guys? The wide receiver, was he in the mock? DJ Buckner is. He's going to the Rams. That's a little bit ahead of us. Okay. But the wide receiver, I don't see. So if we want the wide receiver at 16, we can take him. Let me take a look at our roster here. If I'd actually click on the right thing. Let me take a look. I didn't even take a look at stats. We'll take a look at that in a second before we jump into the draft. So we could use a third receiver because we don't have Xavier Legette anymore. So we could use a third/fourth receiver. So the receiver could be an option for us if we want to trade up a little bit. But if we want to get the corner, we also could use an extra D tackle because Swinson's back. Oh no, we have Collins. I didn't generate best lineup. Never mind. There we go. We don't need a D tackle anymore. I forgot about that. The corner is not necessary. Why did I say it like that? The corner is not necessary as much. I think receiver is probably our go-to. So I think the receiver is the one that we didn't need to trade up for. So let's take a look at stats before we jump into the draft because I realized I forgot to take a look at them. Drake May puts up 4,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Very good. And obviously we saw him progress from superstar to X Factor during the season. So we don't need a quarterback, basically. Like, the quarterback's not the problem. I'm just hoping that the playbook was the problem for some reason. Rushing numbers, Travion puts up fine numbers. 13 touchdowns is good. 2 1,000-yard receivers in Kyle Williams and Pop Douglas. 12 touchdowns for Douglas as well. Loveland puts up 700 yards. Defensively, we put up 116 tackles from Carl Eckel. Jose Almas puts up 114. Nick Lee, 86. Tackle for loss leader is Vondre Elliott with 9. Estes has 6. Eckel and Almas have 4, along with Farmer. Sack leader was Joey Estes with 11.5. Almas has 9.5. 8 for Braden Swinson. I don't know why he keeps getting on the field. 3.5 for Elliott, and then 2.5 for Carl Sharp. Interception numbers, 5 for Gonzo, 3 for Nick Lee. Almas and Boyle both have 2, and then a couple guys have 1. So those are your stats. Let's get to the draft. I don't think we have to move at all. I think taking that wide receiver at number 16 is the move. Unless I'm mistaken, and it's the corner that was projected to go ahead of us. No, Buckner. Okay, he goes at 12. That's perfect. Or yeah, he goes at 12 to the Panthers. So I was correct in thinking that the wide receiver is going to be there because here he is. Jared Atkins out of UCF. He's 5'8". He's got elite acceleration, agility, and speed. He ran a 4.3 at the pro day, 4.29 at the combine, 4.3. At his pro day, he ran a 4.2. He looks really good. We're going to take him at 16 and hope that he is a god. Number 9 in true value. Hidden Dev, 98 speed. One of the fastest players I've ever drafted in Madden 26. 95 acceleration, 95 agility. That's pretty sick. That's our 4th/3rd receiver. And now we go to the second round. What else do we need? We got our receiver. That fills out the depth there. I guess we could look at offensive linemen. Maybe some offensive linemen. There is still an edge rusher, Ladarius Wooten, who not very athletic, but he has a round 1 to 2 talent. I'll take a flyer on him. He's number 50 in true value. Normal dev, but 93 strength. Maybe more of a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick than a 2nd round pick. That's kind of a miss. But he said round 1 to 2 talent. I'll take. It's whatever. What kind of offensive linemen are still available? Anybody worth grabbing? We know that the D tackle is still available. There's a potentially undrafted center here with a pass block. There's also Jared Berry. Is he any good? Jared Berry, not a great athlete. He's okay in the pass block, probably not as good in the run block. It seems like all the offensive linemen are kind of gone. The D tackles, or this is the edge class. Never mind. The D tackle, he should still be here, right? He is still here. So we'll take him in like the 4th round or something. I think I'll take that center. Jared Berry, welcome aboard. You can never have too many offensive linemen. He ends up being number 52 in true value. He doesn't have a dev trait, which does suck for an offensive lineman. And then I think in the 4th round, I will grab that undrafted D tackle. And then we'll probably just sim out of the draft. That's probably what we'll do. He is still available. Joe Pearman, welcome aboard. 6'6" D tackle. We could always use extra D tackle depth, especially when these guys are getting expensive. So he's number 14 true value, has a dev trait. He's going to be one of the best players that we drafted. So that's pretty sick. We'll let the CPU handle the rest of it. And I think that's a pretty W draft, considering we didn't really need anything like in specific or anything that like is going to affect the starting rotation. I think that was a good draft. Jared Atkins ends up being a 78 overall. Wooten is a 74. Jared Berry's a 73. But these two guys are good depth. And then Joe Pearman ends up being a 77. So all four of the guys that I took are pretty good players. The rest of the class is fine. It's a bunch of jabronis. Nothing too crazy. There was an 80 overall. It's Darrell Ballard, guard for the Bears, who got taken. And then a bunch of 79s, a bunch of 78s, and a bunch of 77s. So it's kind of just a whatever class. I've seen better, I've seen worse. Kind of just a middle of the road class. But we got some guys, and I'm hoping that the playbook change to the Bills is what we needed. Because the Bengal playbook is good, but the Bengal playbook might only be good for sim stats, for individual sim stats. It might not be good for the... Oh, that's right, we have Brewer. Forgot about that. It might not be good for winning games consistently, because we've seen that. We're not winning a bunch of games consistently, which I wish we were. But the team is good, man. I don't know what the problem is. The problem is the Madden Sim sucks, is what the problem is. West Coast spread. Let's make sure we're in the best schemes, which it looks like we already were, in defense at least. And then we're going to run Detroit defense, Buffalo offense, and hope that that is the magical mixer, the solution that we need, because we are running out of money and we are running out of time. Next episode will be season number 6, and we are on the second half of the 10 years. We are on the back stretch of the 10-year dynasty. So we are running out of time to win a Super Bowl. I have never failed one of these 10-year rebuild challenges. Every single one that I've done, whether it was the Patriots every year, or the Rams, or the Cardinals, or Texans, or whoever it is that we've done a 10-year... I've done a bunch of 10-year rebuilds over the history of this channel, so I've never failed one. I've always gotten at least one championship in those 10 years. Sometimes it is only just one. Like I remember specifically that Arizona Cardinal 10-year rebuild. We got the Super Bowl in the very last year in episode number 10. We finally won that Super Bowl. So I've gotten at least one Super Bowl in every single 10-year challenge. And I cannot have the Patriots, my favorite team, to be the first time that I fail the 10-year challenge. It cannot happen. It has to happen within the next couple of seasons, or I'm going to start panicking. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.